did they draw from this? Like, what part of them did they tap into to produce such a work? And so, yeah, I always try to remember you can only put out who you are inside. So it helps to know the artist, and in that way you can get to understand their artwork better, as much as there's lots of room for interpretation. There's this one painting I saw on the internet recently. It's of a person. It looks like they're rowing a boat in a vast ocean, and then there's something in the distance that looks like a portal that leads into another world. So as I looked at that painting, I couldn't help but think, I wonder what's going on here. Is it really a portal to another world? Is it a really just a small like a way to see heaven? Is it psychoactive drugs? Like what's going on over here?
There's a lot of interpretation, isn't
yes, there's a lot that
which would help for you to know the artist and then say, well, but you see, if I know an artist, and I could actually try and attribute their story to all their life to whatever it is they're trying to paint, isn't it? Yeah, good. So let's come to you. And we're just going to help people learn to you before we get into the basics of art then. Do you struggle to live a normal life, like to have a normal day as an art? In the sense of, do you see life differently? Do you struggle? Whereas every time, whatever it is you say, your mind is telling you, this could mean this, you gotta do this. And I'd like to ask this question like this. Have your friends ever told you, Waridi, we are here, let's be here, click out of that world that you're in?
Yeah, that happens a lot. That happens. When let me speak for myself. I tend to see things for what they can be. And a lot of times I draw inspiration from what's around me. And just like you've mentioned, sometimes I tend to go aloof. I tend to maybe be drawing an inspiration or thinking of the next thing that could inspire my next painting. And so the world inside my head is much more beautiful, I'd say, than the world outside. And that sometimes is a conflict, right? I'm trying to be here, but I'm thinking in my head it's so much better.
Is there a time that your mind gets out of art and sees things for just what they are?
Hardly ever. Hardly ever. Hardly ever, yes. I try to see things in their best light, in what they could be in their best sense.
Just gonna ask you this as well. The most famous artists that we do know of, I just can't paint it, I just can't put a finger to their names. The point that some of them could be looked as being crazy to some sense. But for you to create pure art, that you gotta dig to a place that you and I, normal guys, who are just looking at art, just can't relate to. So when we're talking about the famous artists of our time, and even in history, some people would describe Da Vinci as being crazy in some aspects. We've read stories about how some people will be put in psychiatric wards and they will create art that nobody would decipher other than just them. But for you to be pure in your drawing, in your creation, you gotta tap to a place that is not here. I'm trying to ask this question.
I see what you're saying. I can see what you're driving at. And it's true. From ordinary, you get ordinary. But if you really want to put out something extraordinary, you have to tap into the extraordinary parts of yourself. And just like you said, sometimes being in isolation, especially for artists, it helps largely, even for myself. And it's in those moments that you get to see yourself really in your craziest form, in your happiest form, in your saddest form. And in all of these places, you draw inspiration. And depending on what it is that really convicts you the most, that pushes you to put something out. And yeah, it's in its purest form then, in that particular situation.
Do you have normal sleeping hours, in the sense of, do you just say, no, it's time to sleep? Or sometimes you find you have irregular sleeping patterns where if you get that vision, you're like, if I don't put it down now, it's gone. It's gone. I spoke to an artist here last weekend, last Wednesday, sorry, who said, So the thing is, I've not slept. So last night I kept on getting these images and images, and I could clearly see them. And then I would do one, go back, and go like, I've seen another. I just got to go and do it in the abstract sense. That is.
Yeah. So let me tell you, especially as an artist living with regular people, like people who work regular jobs, you are a bit crazy. Like right off the bat, you're not the usual. And sometimes you can be at loggerheads with people because sometimes you do get those inspirations at 2 in the morning. And when mom hears you, your lights are on at 2.
What is she doing?
I know. You know, it's a bit, but it helps to always have a sketch pad or somewhere you can jot your ideas down, just so you don't forget them.